Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope everyone's having a good day so far. And today we are going back behind my Spotify. This time around, we are going to be talking about the rise and fall of Monstercat. Now, I have never actually talked about Monstercat on the channel. Not that, I searched it up. I have not talked about Monstercat in the slightest. But I wanted to talk about Monstercat because I feel like it's a super important thing to do. Is to talk about this label. And back when I first started listening to Monstercat, which I'm gonna look here because I don't know when I started listening to Monstercat. I can guess it was probably, I'm looking. I think I can actually guess. Wasn't then. It was probably 2013 or 2014. Was it 2012? It might have been 2012 is when I started listening to Monstercat. That's somewhere around there. Somewhere around there I started listening to Monstercat. Now, when I started listening to Monstercat, I had no idea. Like, when I was that age, like, I think in 2012, I'm trying to think how old I was. 2017, I was 18. So 2012, I would have only been like 13. I was in middle school when I started listening to Monstercat for sure. Was I? 2012? Would have been 8th grade. Maybe I started listening to it like it had to have been 2012, somewhere around there. But Monstercat launched when I was in middle school. That's crazy. That makes me feel old a little bit, but like I'm 27, so I don't know if I should feel old or not. But the point is, when I was that age listening to them, because I was like 14 or something like that, or 13, around that time, I didn't know Monstercat was a record label. I thought they were a channel that was just posting music. Oh, how naive I was, man. How naive I was listening to Monstercat, thinking they were just a channel that posted music. Because Spotify, I don't know if Spotify was the thing at that point. I think it was, but I didn't start using Spotify until like until high school. So I had no idea. But I also used like SoundCloud at the time too, and YouTube. That was my way of listening to music. But yeah, I had no idea. Like, dude, I didn't start paying attention to the whole record label thing until it was 2019. It was somewhere around COVID because I had to pay attention to it because of Twitch. Because dude, I was just playing whatever music I wanted to around like 2018, 2019. Like, I just didn't care. And I didn't pay attention to record labels, but now I have to do that, and now I have to know who's independent, who's not, and who allows you to listen to their music. But I just want to discuss Monstercat because the rise and fall of this company is actually insane. Because like, just looking at this, I mean, their early stuff I don't think was huge by any means, but like, I mean, they were still getting numbers from their earlier stuff, but like, it's so interesting because you can tell when they took off. I don't think it was momentum, but like, it's cool. Like, their album, not even albums, they're compilation names of all the artists that release music. You got launch week, early stage, momentum because they started getting numbers, and an identity. Also, by the way, Matt, sir, if you see that artist name, that's Tristam, because he just like Tristam kind of just left Monstercat, and I don't know why. Became independent. It was kind of weird. But yeah, and then they started doing like best of 2011, which is interesting. Then there was Evolution. But I know when Monstercat took off for me in general. But it's wild that they put out so much music. And not even Monstercat. their artists put out so much music. They put out music. It's funny. They dropped these compilations. I don't know, every month. Maybe they dropped like 2 a year. I'm trying to figure out the numbers on this because their first 4 compilations were all in 2011, which is crazy. So they dropped 4 let's say records. They dropped 4 records in. That is crazy to think about. They dropped 4 records in 1 year. That was 2011. Everyone was just putting out music. But they don't do the one thing that Monstercat never did, they didn't drop CDs. They're on tour? What the? That's interesting. But no, they never dropped like CDs. I don't even. Where's my phone? I want to see if there's actually, because no, there shouldn't be Monstercat CDs out there because all of these were just on YouTube and SoundCloud. You could not get a CD of all of these compilations. But if you could, you'd be sitting on a gold mine. You know? Let me just see here. I want to see if I can find some Monstercat CDs. Monstercat music. There's actually a Monstercat shop. What does it have? You can buy the little plushy cat, I guess. You can buy a keycap. What the? Shop all. I just want to see what they have. They have a Monstercat hat, a snapback, Monstercat flag, but no CDs, huh? Maybe I'll get me, you know what? Maybe I'll get me a Monstercat hat. You know, because I think there was an era of Monstercat I liked, and actually a Monstercat blanket. This company's crazy. Insane. But yeah, there is Monstercat stuff, but they don't sell CDs. That's the most interesting thing is like the only income that was made was probably based off of SoundCloud and YouTube metrics. Like there was no other way. I'm sure through Spotify the artist got paid, but like this company was so revolutionary at its time because they were just putting out these compilations of a bunch of artists putting out music, and they would all get a cut, all get a split from like all of this. Now, and then looking at like, so 2012, they dropped how many compilations? 1, 2, 3. Solace is definitely when I started listening to Monstercat. So it was 2012 when I started listening. They hold on. They dropped too much music, dude. This label did not stop putting out music. Like, cause like it was like what? It was every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday that you would see a release from Monstercat, and I don't know how these guys were putting out like this much electronic music at the time. But this is how I got my. By the way, this is how I got my start in EDM. Like, not my start in terms of making EDM music, my start in liking it. Like, this is when I started listening to EDM music and when I started liking it. It was definitely around Solace. Because then Anniversary came out. There was a lot of good songs on here. Clocks. Clocks the only one I can mention. Because I think, like, with this one, I can point out the songs that I really liked. Waking Dreams. Disconnected. I Remember. And then Clocks was on this one. For Reunion, I'm trying to think. What on here was good? Tonight. Yeah, maybe that was it. I don't know. But they were putting out way too much. They were putting out too much music at the time. It's crazy. Like, I really want to know, like, how Monstercat was run at the time and how they were able to put out so much music. Because, like, that's genuinely, that's a question I have. But, like, I think for Conquest was probably a big one because it had had Because We Are, Snake Eyes. That might have been it. Adventure Time, I guess. But like the Christmas album, man. This song right here, Imaginary Friend, you can't see it. This song right here, Imaginary Friend, Mr. Fiji Ouija, and Brenton Matthews, banger. This Christmas album was great. I actually like, and then Goodbye Winter Chords. I love this Christmas album. They also did a Trick or Treat EP, which I did not see, but they also have a visualizer for this. But I wish Monstercat put out like CDs of like all the records, but obviously all the money has to go to the proceeds of the artist, and that is going to be really complicated, which is probably why they didn't do CDs, because they just wanted to put out the music. But yeah, like 2012 was huge, I think, for Monstercat. They just kept putting out music and people would listen to it. But oh, and then Revolution, so Follow My Heart. Oh, To the Sun, so good. Dreams, Come and Go, Harmony, bro. Like, I think Monstercat had a great run, but obviously I'll talk about the fall. There's a rise and fall here of Monstercat. I'll talk about the fall. And then 012 Aftermath. How could I forget? This was probably the album that like they dropped everything banging. Flight, We Are One, Heartbeat, Farewell, No One Tonight, Get Up, Hummingbird. Oh my god, dude. Was there anything else? Origami, I think, was pretty good. So many good songs. And it's just wild they were able to put out all this music, man. 013 Awakening, huge, I'm pretty sure. I didn't even know Dabin remixed Truth. That's crazy. Ramses B remix of Heartbeat. What else? Was there anything else? Collide. Collide is huge. Ultraviolet. Guide Me Home. Hurt For Me, No Fire. Razor Sharp. Forever. I mean, brother. Like, they were putting out bangers. They were putting out like some really good music. Discovery was good. Discovery was really good. I think what was on here, Men and Machines by Draper, I like that one a lot. One for All for One was good. There wasn't there more? Video Boy, Soul Arrow, I thought that was really good. The Holding On, Lock in Your Love, that's a pretty good one. Universal 2/3, yeah, just they really just did not stop making good music or putting out good music. Once again by Tristam, huge for this album. Huge. New Game, Apollo, dude, by Astronaut. Come on. Come on. Savage, Case in Point. Till It's Over by Tristam. Like some huge bangers. I don't even know. I think that might have been it. But Rainbow Road by Nana B, dude. I was looking. The reason why I'm making this video is because I was looking through Monstercat's discography. I'm like, where did they go wrong? Like, what happened? You know? Like Surface Airport, Frame of Mind with Tristam and Bracken. Follow You. Wanna Know You. I'm still looking. Halo, Eminence, Cheat Codes, Nitro Front, Seconds Away by Solero, The Covenant Drop Tech, like just so many good songs. And dude, they never even let up because there were still so many good songs come out. Even like to 2014. This is so much. This is within 2 years. I tell you what, man, no band could ever do this. No label could ever do what Monstercat did. This was like, I swear to God, man, Monstercat was a revolutionary thing. It was a revolutionary label that if someone else were to try this, they would fail. 100%. But no, off of this compilation, Here With You Now by Grabbits, Orbit with World and Richard Keddock, Champions with Astronaut and Harry Brooks, This Is Forever. Like, there's so many good songs. So many. What else? Lazo and World, You and Me. I think that was a good one. And then the 3-year anniversary, dude. That live performance mix was insane. And obviously got a bunch of songs for the 3-year anniversary just from previous compilations. And you got 019, which I think I was still listening to them at this point. War, Astronaut, Far Too Loud, so good. Against the Sun, Root Kid and Anna Yvette, I love that one. That was a good one. Hands of Time, Dreamcatcher. What else? There had to have been another. Keep on Rockin', Fool. Also, the 3-year anniversary mix was on here as well, which I thought was really cool. Just so many good songs. And then you go to 020. This 020, I think, was like a huge turning point for Monstercat, like where like they were getting even larger. What I've waited for, Vicetone, D Brown, Tristan, My Friend, Break Them, Air Chord, Here It Comes, Crossroad, Turbo, Penguin, Clockwork Ashes, We Love by Ramses B, Breathe, Tata Child and Danica Nadu. This is where Puppet made his debut. That huge. This, I'm pretty sure Altitude was the biggest release they could have ever done. Like Safe and Sound, I'm Not Over, Top of the World 2, Scribble, Puppet, the Eden Project. This was a banger. I think 020 was where like they took off. Because 2014 I think was at the peak of EDM. And then what was the next one? Was 021, Far Away, Tristan and Bracken. Build the Cities, which Build the Cities, Tristan was on that one. I don't know why he's taken off, but that is Tristan. The Girl, Find That Someone, Richard Judge Televisor, Mountains, Rams, BNB War, Full and Didrik remix, that is huge. Yours Truly, Mr. Fiji, Ouija, and Danica, huge. Answers, Puppet. I don't know, was Puppet on? He was on this album twice, I think, because Puppet was on there with Answers. Answers is huge. It's a huge song. Inferno, Rich Edwards, huge. Huge, dude. This, like, it makes me sad that, like, Monstercat ended on, like, a negative note, and we'll talk about it, but, like, there's so many good songs on here. What did it just jump to? Go back down. So you go to like 022 Contact. This was when San Holo was, which is Han Solo, but like when San Holo started getting his roots. Oh, that's okay. So Tristan collabed with Karma Fields on that song. Okay. I'm trying to. There wasn't a lot of songs I love. The Fire, there it is. Puppet and Eden Project. There wasn't a lot of songs I loved on this one, I don't think. No, see, this is okay. We Are, that's another good one. There was a lot of songs. This is kind of, I think, what year is this? 2015? This is where I started to fall off of Monstercat, but where I started to listen to Puppet more. That's where it was grasping onto. And going to 023, I want to see Final Boss by Nitrofun was pretty good. Yeah, again, like, not a lot of good songs on here, like nothing I recognize, because I think like around 2015 was high school. That is when I stopped listening to him a little bit. We Won't Be Alone is a good song. Crave by Tristan wasn't great. Tristan really kind of like he was leaning away from the Monstercat sound, I feel like, if that makes sense. Yours Truly remix, I think that was pretty good. Run to You, Summer was fun, incredible. Yeah, I don't know. Faster Than Light, I think that was a good one. But again, not a lot of like. There was a point where they started to just like, I don't know, nothing really connected with me. Divine by Tristan, I think that was good. Float Away, great song by Grabbits. Signs, Project 46, huge. Boy and the Beast by Puppet and Pierce Fulton, incredible. Puppet making music at this time, I was so excited. Because like I loved everything he was putting out. I still do, but yeah, it's just like this label was doing something that no one else could do. They really were just like saying, yup, music. They really were saying that. I'm gonna see. Synchronize was really good by Hellberg. I like that one a lot. Is there anything else on here that like spoke to me? Enough is Enough, Puppet. Yeah, that's a good one. But you can see like I was only listening to like certain artists when they were dropping these compilations. And 27 Cataclysm, I feel like I didn't listen to Superstar with Cruella. I don't know if I listened to that. I don't know if I did. Marshmello dropping Alone. I think Marshmello was a huge drop. What else? Looking, Time to Say Goodbye. I don't know if that was one I listened to. Checkpoint, Nitro. I think Nitro Fun and Hyper Potion, I listened to that one. That was good. Where I'll Be Waiting, that was a good one. Neon Rainbow Ramses Bees, good one. Unbreakable, Hyper Potion Sandica, pretty good. And then the 5-year anniversary, which I didn't really listen to, not incredibly. 028 Uproar. I don't know if I listened to Nevada or not by Vice Tone. Probably didn't. This is around. Okay, this is. Well, no. This had to have been around when I stopped listening to Monstercat. I think when the 5-year anniversary came out, I was kind of branching away from Monstercat and just listen to whatever else. 029. Yeah. I can tell. Killing Giants, I was just listening to Puppet at this point. This is when I started listening to Puppet and when I stopped listening to just Monstercat because they weren't dropping anything good. Nothing that I was really interested in. And then going to 030, assuming it's up here somewhere. The finale. Okay. So this is when, okay, now we can talk about their fall. What did they drop on finale anyway? Did they drop anything good? Was there anything? Yeah, Puppet. Okay. It's definitely when, yeah. 30? Think about that. 30 albums. Monstercat did more than any metal band has ever done. That's crazy to think about. And although they are compilations, like, it is whatever. But, this is when I stopped listening to Monstercat, and this is where their downfall kind of began. At least I think. I don't remember. When they started doing the Uncaged stuff, I thought, you know? But also, like, that's when I stopped listening to them, was when they did the Uncaged stuff. And, I'm sorry, where did this come from? That's getting added to the Christmas playlist. Thanks. I didn't know they did a Christmas EP. That's funny. Interesting. I mean, they were still dropping a ton of albums, but like, my problem with Monstercat when they started doing all this 8-year anniversary, because I know at some point they sold their company, and the big thing that I know everyone hated about Monstercat when I was around 2019, 2020, I think it was around 2020 actually, was when they started, I think it was when everyone became kind of like, God, there was a lot here, huh? I thought that, did I not look through enough? Maybe it was 2021. It's when Monstercat started using AI, I think was the fall of Monstercat. And then obviously, best of 2023, this is when they stopped doing music. When they stopped putting out albums. This is when they stopped. because I'm pretty sure if I look at this image hard enough, it's probably AI. But yeah, Monstercat started using AI, and that's when people stopped. When people stopped listening to him, I think, or it was. I think people stopped listening to well, people clearly still listen to Monstercat. I think most people stopped listening to Monstercat once they got into like AI and they started using AI art, because a lot of their art was custom made. And it just like obviously they sold off. They sold the company to someone, I don't remember who, but like yeah, they stopped putting out albums in 2023, so that was 2 years ago. But I do think the fall of Monstercat was when they stopped doing the numbered compilations and when they started dipping their toes into AI. Like, I think I've talked about AI before. AI, there's good and bad to it. I think like people can see the good. I see the good and the bad in it. There's good and there's bad. I think knowing where to use AI, I think, is what makes the most sense, you know? I think that's kind of the thing. And Monstercat, I think what they were known for was like you see the album art and like, oh yeah, Monstercat, you know it's Monstercat, but you see something like this, unrecognizable, you know? But I think like hearing Monstercat, I got an AI, I was just like, no, I'm good. But I stopped listening to Monstercat when Puppet came out, and when Puppet came out, I just moved on to listening to him and his music, and that's all I cared about. But I haven't listened to EDM music. Like, I'm still into EDM music, I just don't listen to it as much anymore. It's very like I listen to it here and there. The most I listen to it is with like Puppet. But I thought I'd talk about Monstercat because they used to be so good, and it was such a huge thing for EDM at the time. But to see them fall, like they get sold off, they go into AI, they stop doing the numbered compilations. It's like, come on, dude. But anywho, that's gonna be a video for today. But thank you guys for watching, hanging out. I appreciate it a ton. I will see you guys in the next video, and yeah, goodbye.